Hello students. In today's lecture, we will discuss about Internet of Things. Internet of Things, as we all know, is an emerging technology which knowingly or unknowingly each one of us are using on a day-to-day basis. If you are using a mobile phone, your own mobile phone or your parents' mobile phone, you are also using one of the Internet of Things devices. In today's lecture, we will see what Internet of Things mean and how we can use it in our day-to-day life. In the first part of the lecture, we will understand the meaning of Internet of Things. We will understand what goes in building into the Internet of Things. We will understand about the ecosystem of Internet of Things. And in the second part of the lecture, we will try to see what are the different areas or day-to-day applications or in our day-to-day life things which we use which are actually a part of Internet of Things. So let us first understand what Internet of Things mean in the most simple form. Internet of Things is a network of physical and virtual devices that interact with each other without human intervention. So here I will stress upon 3-4 words: network, physical, virtual, interaction, and without human intervention. Network means that 2 or 3 objects or more than one object are interacting with each other. For example, you have a group of friends with whom you play, or you have a study group. So that can also be termed as a network, that you have a network of friends. Similarly, network of different physical devices. For example, you may use a mobile phone or a telephone, and you can talk with your parents, you talk with your friends, you talk with your grandparents who stay at a different location. So these are network of physical devices. But in your mobile phone, there are some sort of programs. Those are computer programs. There will be one program for one performing a task, or there could be multiple programs to perform a task. For example, when you make a call, there are multiple set of programs which enable the task of calling from your phone to another phone. So such sort of entities can be termed as the virtual device. Physical device is something which you can touch and feel. Virtual device is something which you may not touch, but it performs some task for you. So Internet of Things is a network of all such physical and virtual devices. These physical and virtual devices can interact with each other, and they do not require a human intervention in many cases. Another example I will give you. If from your mobile phone, if you can control the room temperature of your air conditioner, or let us say from your mobile phone, if you have a software or a program from which you can see who is coming to your house. You have a camera in front of your door and you can see who is coming through your house using your phone when you are not close to your house. So this information which is passed from the camera which is at the door of your house to the mobile phone which is in your hand, and you may be in the same location or a different location. So such type of interaction in which you are not contributing anything or any other human is not contributing anything, such interactions are termed as Internet of Things, which happen between physical and virtual devices without any human intervention. So this is the most basic form of definition. Since the emergence of Internet of Things, there are many industries which are working on it. Example, the mobile phone which you are using, IP cameras which are used to monitor people coming into a railway station or in an airport or in a bus stand. Those cameras capture entry and exit of people. Similarly, you must have observed IP cameras on highways, and you must have observed certain sensor devices which capture the speed of a vehicle. So all such type of devices can be termed as physical or virtual Internet of Things devices, which actually do not require any human intervention to perform their task. Now, so many, as I said, many industries and professional bodies are also interested in this emerging technology. And many industries have given their own definition for Internet of Things. We will see some of the prominent industry definitions. So, the first definition which I will tell you is given by International Data Corporation, which is a United States based organization. They define Internet of Things as a network connecting either wired or wireless devices or things that is characterized by autonomous provisioning, management and monitoring. The IoT is innately analytical and integrated. Here again, we already understand now what is a device, what is a thing. Any physical or virtual device is a thing in Internet of Things domain. Now, the device could be wired or wireless. Now, since it requires interaction between devices which may be located at far off places. For example, when you make a phone call, you can make a phone call to a friend which stays next door or even a friend who stays as far off as the United States of America. So, in such cases, you require a communication channel which will enable you to interact with your friend who stays in a far off location. Such communication channel can be provided by a telephonic network or the internet network. So, when we provide communication channel through the internet, then the connecting devices are termed as Internet of Things. These devices can be wired or wireless. For example, your telephone which you might be using since age old, which uses the PSTN network, those are wired devices. The mobile phone which you are using, and you can access YouTube videos and you can also check your mail. It makes use of internet, but it is wireless. It is not connected to some other device through a wire which provides internet connectivity. But there are certain devices, for example, you might have seen a router in your home which is connected to a wire. So, that actually is connected to a local internet hub which might be close to your house. So, those are wired devices. A device which is not connected through a wire but interacts through a wireless medium. It interacts through what is termed as a radio wave. You may not need to understand at present what a radio wave means, but what you need to understand that in such cases, air becomes the medium of interaction. So, such devices are wireless. IoT performs autonomous provisioning. Provisioning means providing something. For example, when you have an IP camera at home, through which you can monitor who enters your home without performing any task, then this IoT application is providing you an autonomous provisioning of providing information that who enters your house. Similarly, management. IoT can have multiple applications which we will study in the next lecture. In this lecture, what you need to understand is that it can be used for managing various components in a factory or various components in a traffic management system or a waste management system, and as well as monitoring. So, it means that whenever you are trying to observe something, entering or exit of a person in an airport or a car speeding up in a highway, so you are trying to observe something. So, this observation is termed as data, and you can do a lot of things with this data. For example, in a highway with an IP camera which observes that how many cars are traveling through the highway in a given period of time. So such sort of analysis is termed as analytics, IoT analytics. Now we will see the next definition, which Cisco has given. IoT is the next evolution of internet, connecting unconnected people, processes, data and things in your business. So as we understand that for connectivity you require internet. Internet was there since long time, since last 30-40 years we have internet, or some sort of connectivity was there. Even before internet, people were able to connect with each other through telephonic lines. Then came internet. Now how is IoT different from internet? IoT is different from internet because now you can have the capability of internet even in your refrigerator, in your washing machine. That's why it's termed as the next evolution of internet. Earlier, no one thought that you can have your refrigerator or washing machine connected to your mobile phone. You can even have a sensor device attached to your refrigerator which can tell you what is the current status of items in your refrigerator. Let us say, are there 2 chocolates left or 3 chocolates left? Even that a sensor device can tell you, and you can see it in your mother's or father's phone. So that is what IoT has done. It has taken internet to the next level, wherein data and various processes can be observed from anywhere at any point of time by using internet, which was earlier never thought of to be available with devices like refrigerators or microphones or washing machines. Now, we will see the next definition, which will tell us about how internet connectivity can be brought to such devices like washing machine or refrigerators. Sensors and actuators connected by networks to computing system. These systems can monitor or manage the health and action of connected objects and machines. Connected sensors can also monitor the natural world, people and animal. So how is this internet connectivity made possible? Through sensors, actuators connected by networks to computing system. So here we will give stress upon 4 words: sensors, actuators, networks and computing system. What is a sensor? I'll give you some common examples. When you fall sick, your mother makes use of a thermometer to check your temperature. That thermometer is also like a sensor because it can sense the temperature of your body. When you use a remote control to change the channels in your television, the remote actually sends a ray on which your television sensors act upon and the channels get changed. So there is some action happening. So that is actuation. Sensing is trying to observe some information from the environment. Actuators will take command and act upon the command according to the command. So those are sensors and actuators. So these sensors and actuators actually make it possible to make all physical devices connected to the internet. So once you install or connect, we may also put it in this simpler term that you have a sensor put in your washing machine or you have a sensor put in your refrigerator. So what does that sensor do? That sensor will take some kind of information or observe some kind of information from your washing machine. For example, what is the level of water in your washing machine? Is it sufficient to wash 10 clothes or 20 clothes? If you see that it is sufficient to wash 20 clothes and you only have 20 clothes to wash, then maybe from your phone you can cut the water supply and there is no more water being supplied to your washing machine. But how does this happen? Sensor will only tell you what is the level of water, but how will the washing machine take the command that it does not require any more water? That happens through actuators. So sensors and actuators take information, act upon commands. Okay? So that's the difference. Sensors will will observe information from the environment, and activators will act according to the command received. And then how does this sensing and actually the data which is observed from the sensors, and how do we make out that, because it doesn't require any human intervention, it has to be the sensing and activating has to be done without any human intervention. So we also require some sort of program, some sort of computing system. The computing system will make use of those programs and will decide upon what action has to be performed next. That message is passed on to the activator, and the activators acts accordingly. So these are systems, sensors, activators connected through a network and computing systems, which together make the Internet of Things. They can monitor, they can manage health. How do they manage health? You must have heard about Fitbit devices, or if you are using a smartphone, you must have also have observed an application in the smartphone which can calculate the number of steps which you walk in a day. How does that happen? Because it has a sensor. As you walk, it counts the number of steps, and that's how you can know that how many steps you have taken in a day. So they can also manage or monitor your health status. They can manage, you have sensor devices that can also observe your pulse rate. So these Internet of Things devices can monitor and also act upon based on certain commands. These sensor devices can be connected to physical devices, people, or animals. So we'll see one more definition which is given by a professional association. Professional association have presence all over the world. So IEEE is also a professional association, which is Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. The definition which they have given is also similar to what we have seen earlier. An IoT system is a network of networks where typically a massive number of objects, things, sensors or devices are connected through communication and information infrastructure to provide value-added services via intelligent data processing and management for different applications. Now here we have come across a new word, network of networks. In the previous definitions, we have already seen that IoT is a network of physical and virtual devices. Examples of physical devices could be refrigerators. Virtual devices are software programs. Now here we have come across a new word, network of networks. Why this is called networks of network? Because let us say that I am stationed at one location. Let me call that location as Hyderabad. Now Hyderabad city will also have certain network. Now similarly, each of the cities will have certain network. And then how do we connect all these networks? All these networks are connected through internet service providers. You must have heard about Reliance, Vodafone. These are internet service providers which provide internet connectivity. But as we understand, all devices in IoT will not have internet connectivity. So for that, we require certain special communication and information infrastructure. Together, this forms Internet of Things, and it is termed as network of networks because a person in Hyderabad can also have a network or connectivity at any time to any place in the world. That's why it is termed as network of networks. Okay. This is another definition, which is actually what we discussed previous, that Internet of Things is a global infrastructure. It doesn't confine to a city or a state or a country, but it is a global infrastructure of physical and virtual things. So I'll read out the definition for you. A global infrastructure for the information society enabling advanced services by interconnecting physical and virtual things based on existing and evolving interoperable information and communication technologies. Now, throughout the discussion, we have observed few major things: sensors, wireless networks, and that a lot of data is collected through these sensors and we can perform some sort of analysis. So, these are certain technologies which enable Internet of Things. Now, here we also come across certain new words. For example, embedded systems. Embedded systems are systems which can have sensors, activators, and some sort of computer programs as well embedded in them. For example, your washing machine, if you have a smart washing machine, it can do full operation for you, washing, drying, and it can also send information on your mobile phone that the washing of clothes is completed. Such sort of devices are termed as embedded systems. We are aware of what is sensors and also what could be wireless. For example, your mobile phone is not connected to any wire, so it is a wireless device. Similarly, a network of all these sensors which you may have in your home itself, a sensor connected to your refrigerator, washing machine, a network of all these sensors which are not wired can be termed as a wireless sensor network. Also, we also discussed about that there has to be a computing structure or a computing infrastructure which will perform computation on the sensed information received and then will issue commands which can be acted upon by the activators. Where this computing information infrastructure will reside? They reside on a strong computing systems. Such strong computing systems are also sometimes termed as IoT gateways, which connect a lot of wireless sensor network to bigger networks, for example, internet. Now, for all these communication, we require certain set of rules and regulation, like your sensor cannot send the device in the same time when you are trying to give an instruction to the activator. So, there has to be certain set of rules established as in how interaction can happen or message exchange can happen between different sensors and activators or different devices in an IoT. So, we require certain communication protocols. Protocols are set of rules. Then we require certain sort of mechanism which can analyze the data which is collected by the sensor. Now, just imagine that this is a global network. So, a lot of sensor devices will be connected. A lot of smartphones can be connected. A lot of health related devices could be connected. So, the data which is collected is also huge and you require huge computing platforms to process upon that huge data. So, you require a cloud infrastructure or which is also termed as cloud computing. So, these are the enabling technologies which you require to establish a IoT infrastructure or to provide IoT applications. If you are developing a new IoT application, you bare minimum require sensors, embedded device and some routers or gateways to make a wireless sensor network. If you can do that, then you can develop your own IoT application with some knowledge of programs. Here we will see a IoT ecosystem. So, if these, let us say some example, if you can see a small house here. So, this house has various sensors. It may have an IP camera, it may have a security camera, it may have a sensor on the refrigerators or on the doors. So, then this is termed as home IoT. Similarly, sensors can be used in factories, then they are termed as industrial IoT, or it can be used in traffic management or weather management, weather information. Then it can be termed as your smart city IoT. So, in all these things you require a lot of sensing devices, and these sense devices are then sent to gateway devices where some data analysis can be performed and you can do some sort of prediction, as in, let's say, how much the traffic at usually at 9 o'clock is, there are hundreds of cars at some particular traffic location, and you observe this over a period of time, then you can make certain pattern out of it, that during 9 to 10 o'clock this is the amount of traffic which goes through a path, during 10 to 11 it is little low, and then during the day period it is even lower, and again by 5 o'clock in the evening it goes up. So these are patterns. This is a very simple example which I have given. There will be multiple complicated scenarios or examples where you will collect different types of data and where different types of pattern can emerge out of data. So such sort of patterns helps us in making some sort of prediction of the future. For example, in case of health IoT, you can make a prediction about whether the person's health will be normal in the next 24 hours or next 48 hours or next week. So that sort of possibility is there with an IoT, and this diagram basically shows you what are the different components in an IoT ecosystem. This diagram also is the same representation, but also shows how these components are connected with each other. For example, I had told you about it could be smart city application connected to an IoT gateway. IoT gateway is connected to the network domain. Something has to be done so that all this data can be reached to anywhere in the world, and for that what we require, access network, ISP, services ISP, and then it's the client, that is you and me, who is making use of the IoT. So this is your entire IoT architecture. So this we can skip. This is a little higher for maybe a little more elder students, that you have certain set of rules. So there were certain set of rules for internet and there are certain set of rules for IoT. So in this lecture, we understood what is the definition of IoT. We saw the perspective of industry and various professional bodies, how they define IoT. We understood what an IoT ecosystem comprises of, what are the different components, and how these components are connected, or how the IoT architecture is built up. So this gives you the basic idea of what Internet of Things is. In this session, we saw the definition of Internet of Things. We saw the perspective of industry, how industry defines Internet of Things. We also saw the perspective of various professional bodies, how they define Internet of Things. We saw what Internet of Things comprise of, that is your IoT ecosystem, and how these components are connected with each other, and that's your IoT architecture. Now these components will also have certain set of rules with which they will interact with each other. That is defined by the IoT protocol stack. So in this lecture, we have an introduction about what IoT is. Thank you, students.